So patch 16.9 is dropping right now, and I'm actually not going to go through this in the order that I usually do, which is just chronologically, because some stuff is more important. A lot of this is about PvE and ref, which is great for those guys who are playing PvE, but for us who are playing PvP, this stuff is the most important part. So I'm actually going to start here, and then we'll go back and look at the other things in a minute. So balancing changes that they are making to the hardcore wipe firstly include returned access to the flea market. So the flea market is coming back. However, there are going to be quite some serious restrictions on it. So you can only access the flea at level 35. So this is a big difference from the level 15 that we're used to and have been for a very long time throughout the patches of EFT. And you have the ability to place one found in raid item at a time. So they've basically brought found in raid back. For the flea markets, you can only put up items that are found in raid on the flea, and you'll only have one slot to do it. So it's a bit like before, you know, when you've got 4 slots or 5 slots or something, you'll only have one slot at the moment. And I guess there's probably no way to increase that number of slots right now. So you have to put up one item, and when that sells, you can then put up the next item, and when that sells, you can put up the next one, and so on and so on. This does mean that you're going to be able to buy items for the hideout, because the hideout is currently not find in raid required. So if you need any drills or motors or anything like that, you'll be able to go through and buy them from the flea market. Although I would expect the prices probably to be quite high, because if people can only put up one item at a time, that's going to limit the number that are on there. There's going to be a lot more people wanting to buy, especially in the first few hours and the first day or so of the flea market than later. The prices will come down after the first wave of people will just pay anything because they've got the money for it and they want to get their progression, and then the prices will come down quite quickly, I think, to something that's a bit more stable. Other things that have been relaxed as well, which Nikita said was going to happen over time, by the way. We've got to remember that he did say that some of these hardcore features would slowly be rolled back over time, so it's going to be as hard as it can be at the beginning, and then it gets easier as the wipe goes on. So they've reverted the trader prices to the values before the hardcore wipe, and the scav cooldown is also going to the values before the hardcore wipe. This should actually help people who are lower level and those who are less experienced quite a lot, so this should hopefully people perceive this quite well. He's also returned the missing trade offers at Therapist Loyalty level 4. This is a picture that I pulled from the wiki of the old Therapist level 4, because they didn't update those on the wiki because the hardcore wipe was a kind of one-of-a-kind thing. And you can see here we've got lots of stuff, which is mainly stims. It's the Propitols, SG6 Barter, there's Augustin, Adrenaline. Those things you probably will be able to buy now on Therapist level 4, because at the moment you can't buy any stims on the traders whatsoever. Final party's balancing changes is returning the ability to insure items at Prapor and Therapist, and disabled insurance at Fence. This is reducing the price of insurance again. I'm kind of torn on insurance, to be honest, because I do think it really does contribute quite strongly towards the inflation in the economy, but at this point in the wipe, it's kind of whatever. Okay, so with the most important part out of the way, let's go back to the beginning and have a look at what they've done with the PVE mode synchronization. We'll go through the rest of the notes. So added the synchronization between Arena and PVE. So the main feature is that it works only one way, excluding the regular tasks. So, you know, you have to accept stuff and complete them in one game, and then you have to go to the other game. That will obviously still exist, but basically the progress in EFT, as it says here, it syncs with PVE, but not the other way around. And the reason why they want to do it this way, and you'll see in the mechanics below that they've thought about quite a few different situations, is because they don't want people doing the ref task line, getting ref's level up, and then having that ref level in PvP. They don't want anything from PvE to move to PvP, even including reputation and stuff like that, because that would potentially cause problems. Now, one strange thing about this is that it might end up meaning that you are not the same level in Arena and in PvE on ref, and even your character, because some stuff only stays in PvE and some stuff only stays in Arena. So if you do a task line quest in PvE, the actual in-game tasks, that reputation will go towards ref in PvE, but it won't on Arena, which is kind of strange. Not that I really think that has any bearing on Arena anyway, because your ref level doesn't actually matter in Arena, but by the by. So they've added ref to PvE mode with his related tasks and trade offers. The Arena task lines in PvE and PvP now contain a special label showing the game mode, and they can be completed simultaneously in both modes, so it doesn't matter if you play a bit of PvP and then a bit of PvE, you can just do them in whatever order you like. You can now transfer currency, so rubles, GP coins and Legers, and loot crates over to PvE, and items and currency from PvE can't be transferred back to Arena, so once it's in PvE, that's it gets locked in there. This is available in Ref Services tab, as it usually is, and the item transfer between Arena and PvP remains unchanged. The item transfer limits are also separate and don't affect each other. So with tactical clothing, if you obtain clothing in Arena, it unlocks in both PvE and PvP, which I think is a good thing, by the way. Obtain clothing in PvP only unlocks it in EFT Arena, whereas unlocking clothing in PvE doesn't unlock it in PvP or Arena at all, so it only unlocks it in PvE itself. We then have the Battle Pass, so earning rewards in the Battle Pass also unlocks them in PvE, and stuff that you've already earned also unlocks in PvE. This is another good thing in my opinion. So in-game tasks, after you completed tasks in EFT Arena, you receive rewards in your in-game stash and can transfer them to either PvP or PvE modes, it's up to you. This is where it gets a bit nuanced. So trader standing increase from EFT Arena transfers both into PvE and PvP. Completing tasks in PvE only gives you trader standing to ref in PvE mode, whereas completing a PvP task gives trader standing in both PvP mode and EFT Arena. So this is why it says Arena and PvE mode, they might differ due to PvE trader standing not transferring to Arena, so you might have a different standing in both of those games. It's just something to be aware of. Experience, skills, and mastery levels do transfer both to PvE and PvP mode. Gaining experience in PvE doesn't transfer elsewhere, but gaining experience in PvP also transfers over to Arena like it used to. So again, experience, skills, and mastery might differ because PvE experience doesn't transfer to Arena, whereas PvP experience does. If your character gets wiped, global, personal, or prestige in PvP or Arena, then only PvP and Arena progress will be reset. The progress in tasks related to PvE don't get reset. If you perform a character wipe to your own character, your progress will only be reset in PvE. Progression in tasks related to PvP and Arena will not be reset, and the progress in PvE will be reset. So you probably don't need to follow all of that to get the general gist, which is stuff that happens in PvE stays in PvE. You can move stuff to PvE from Arena if you want to. Things in PvP do affect Arena, but anything that you do there only transfers to PvE and nothing comes back the other way. Okay, so onto AI. It readjusted the general AI detection system through smoke, enemy AI detection, improved looting patterns, grenade launcher aiming system, improved AI detection when AI is hiding in vegetation. So we'll just have to see how that plays out. It's hard to know what this means when we're just kind of looking at some words on the screen. Have to see what it's like. Because right now, scavs aren't really that deadly. I actually would rather them be not so deadly rather than be like super deadly, but maybe it's a little too far at the moment, so we'll see. Several boss fixes, fix situations where an AI would drop their NVG to a player, specific situations where the cultist would stop shooting a player, AI PMCs not patrolling on factory, the rogues firing the stationary AGS grenade launcher outside the detection sector, where bots are spawning in front of players, and situations where a bot group would summon an ally next to the player. So yeah, we'll just have to see about these. They've done a few audio changes as well, so fix the incorrect volume of certain sounds, remove the grenade fuse ignite sound on the M67. So this is the one where when you throw a grenade, it goes in the air. I guess that doesn't happen on the M67, so they've removed it, I suppose. It must be a realism thing. Fix several issues with sound occlusion on streets and customs. Added noise cancelling and microphone sensitivity options for voice chat. This is actually quite good because it stops people's microphones sounding awful if they've got a bad quality mic. This one is cool. The issues with short clicks and sound artifacts when using VoIP. This is really annoying. You could go around the map just hearing like little VoIP artifacts like all the time. So if they have fixed that, then that's going to be great. Fix the issue with players still hearing VoIP after disabling it in the settings. Added the ability to quick swap microphones used in VoIP. And now if you encounter a microphone error, you can enable or disable voice chat to receive incoming voice streams. And you can also adjust the VoIP volume. So quality of life, there is only one. Change the surgical kit auto use priority to the legs. I guess that's probably so that you don't end up hobbling around. You've like fixed an arm by accident and it was your last usage and then you've still got a black leg. You need to use painkillers for the rest of the raid or hobble out if you don't have any. I guess there might be some other quality of life things in the game. We're going to have to actually see what they've done because BSG obviously don't always tell us everything on the patch notes themselves. Balancing changes we talked about already, so let's just whiz down to the fixes and then we'll look at Arena because there's a couple of little things in Arena too for those people who do at least play the dailies and stuff like I do. So numerous visual issues as always that they're trying to fix. Ability to use gestures whilst jumping to gain an advantage has been fixed. Character behavior attempting to equip a grenade while using the bipod, to do with the compass, incorrect Glock 18C recoil, incompatible attachments on an equipped weapon. Sometimes this is annoying and sometimes it's kind of inconsequential. So it depends on like which weapons they've looked at. So they haven't said, so we're gonna have to see. Sometimes it means that certain things that we used to use all the time now just can't be equipped anymore. We're gonna have to reserve judgment on this. Fix the issue with max level skills not leveling correctly after using a stimulant. This has been in the game for ages, so thank God they fixed that. Fix several visual hideout issues, ammo and overall accuracy statistics during local PvE raids, the RSH G2 explosion visuals in thermals, ability to equip regular and helmet mounted headsets at the same time, and fix the cause of error 228 while auto sorting the stash in certain cases. So that is the patch notes for 16.9 for the base game. And there's some stuff in Arena as well. I guess before we talk about that, I mean, a lot of people are expecting an event. There's an event coming soon. Obviously, there's no details of this in here whatsoever, but they've been pointing towards this for a while. Like BSG staff members have pointed out the fact that Tagilla's big axe thing in the labyrinth was 19.08, which was yesterday in European date format. And they did actually point this out and say, oh, look at the date. And the fact that the patch was coming out, or at least they were doing some server infrastructure yesterday, kind of indicates that there's an event coming. Even Nikita himself has said on his Twitter, it's coming soon, you know, just wait for it. It's coming in August and give him up the 20th. So it's kind of like now is basically the time. So that is kind of what we're expecting alongside these patch notes. Obviously, they've not said anything about it, but we'll see when we get into the game. It's probably going to be a new quest line or something, and that will kick it all off. That's usually the way it goes. So Arena, we have patch 3.3. This has got some interesting stuff. There's the PVE mode synchronization. We're not going to need to read this because we read this already over on the basic one. It's the same stuff effectively. Arena now has the new audio system. So up until now, Arena has had the old audio system prior to patch 16.8. So we've got this new sort of like semi-ray trace kind of audio, or at least the one that is better for processing stuff between different obstacles and walls and that kind of thing. So this is now in Arena. We don't need to read all of this out because we've heard this in the base game. So now that the Arena and the EFT audio is going to be the same, it actually is going to help a little bit because you get a lot of practice and experience listening to people's footsteps and stuff in Arena, a lot more than you do in the base game. So I'm very fascinated to see how this sounds and how this feels to play. They've added this new section called Weapon Tasks. So added Weapon Tasks, individual challenges for the most experienced Arena players, unlocking access to unique customization items. So Weapon Tasks are unlocked after earning all the related weapons attachments, so you just have to be like max level. And Weapon Tasks consist of 3 challenges, all of which can be progressed simultaneously. Completing a weapons task unlocks a special camouflage for the corresponding weapon. They're only available for select weapons, but the list will be expanded in the future, and the first 1,000 players who complete a weapons task for a specific gun will unlock a unique account-tied number tag for this weapon. So there's some kind of special thing, you know, sort of 1,000 player Hall of Fame sort of deal, you know. If you're within that first 1,000, then you get special things. So maybe pick like a gun that you like the most, and it's kind of like your signature weapon, something like that. See if you can go and complete that and get one of these first 1,000. There's now a new quick game button. Added a new quick game, allows matchmaking in all game modes and all locations in unranked. I probably won't use this very much. It would be nice if quick game, at least you could select the modes and then just press go. For those people who also do want to play Blast Gang and Teamfight, then this might be good. The next game button, this is cool, available at the end of the match, allows you to start matchmaking based on the previously selected settings. This is cool. We've now got magazine ammo presets, so this is the same as in the base game, so you can save the ammo presets, and you have the top loop and the bottom section. It's exactly the same way as it works in the base game. And then this thing is very, very curious. So balancing changes. As part of patch 0.3, we were tasked with reducing the total number of headshot kills, which at the time had statistically reached over 70%. Although headshots are natural for competitive shooters, we wanted to find an average value at which the equipment of the classes also gave the player the opportunity to react to the enemy. The value of headshots we saw after the balancing adjustments unfortunately turned out to be much lower than we expected. So this is very curious. So they tried to reduce the number of headshots, don't really know why, they just didn't like it very much. And when they did it, it seems like they ended up reducing it too much. So a lot of this seems to be to do with the Enforcer, because as the Enforcer, previously, before this patch, you basically never went for headshots ever. Both of my classes that I used, the Ash 12 and the Saiga with Magnum Buckshot, they were both around legs, and this is exactly what they say here. So with the previous updates, we had several adjustments to the Enforcer class to give more variety and playability to shotguns to make the class more heavy weapons related. We didn't take into account the number of balancing factors for this class, which led to situations where shooting at the legs became much more advantageous and easier. And remember, this is also because they rolled back the black leg damage, so the black leg and black arm throughput damage is actually different to the base game and is easier, gives more damage through, so leg meta is actually more powerful in Arena, or at least it was until now. So we put together a comprehensive list of changes for the class aimed at correcting this situation and bringing back a healthier balance. As a result of the changes, the concept of Enforcer will shift towards a more flexible one, that is able to take advantage of the available weapons while remaining effective in both defense and offense, still having weaknesses. Reduce the limb damage arms and legs from 1 to 0.8, and reduce the destroyed limb damage arms from 1 to 0.8 as well. This is kind of interesting. I'm not 100% sure what this means. The limb damage down from 1 to 0.8, so arms and legs will take less damage in their natural state, I guess. They won't take 1 damage, they'll take 0.8 per 1 damage, which is really weird. And then reduce the destroyed limb damage. This is just for arms, so legs, I guess, stay as they were. We'll have to see how it feels. There's a whole bunch of balancing changes. The most important ones are removing the ability to equip the Vulcan 5 face shield. You can't equip the Masker. The slat plate is now more expensive. The Saigers are more expensive across the board. You've got things like the 20-round magazine, which you cannot equip anymore. The 10-round magazine for the Saiga is also more expensive to use. The Piranha is increased and Flechette can't be used anymore. So we'll have to see about this. There doesn't seem to be any changes to the Ash 12, which in my opinion was one of the most powerful leg metas. You use PS12A, the flesh damage round, and use that in the Ash. That doesn't seem to be touched here, so still probably going to be able to use that. I probably still will use it. It depends on how this feels, to be honest, but the Ash does so much damage, it's probably only going to be one more shot because it's so break pointy. They also added the ability to equip the AUG of both varieties, the MDR 556, the 105, the 74U, the SCAR L, the MP5K, and the MPX. The only problem is with all of this is that unless you can actually pen through like a class 4 helmet or something, then a lot of the time people are just not going to use these guns. Like one of the biggest issues in Arena with the Enforcer is that the guns aren't that great and the ammo is also not that great. So you really do have to hit a headshot with them, and the armor doesn't really help you against classes like the Scout because they have really high pen anyway. And so you may as well just play Scout so that you can also pen through other people's armor. So I'm not sure if this is actually going to fix it, but we'll see. Scout adjustments. With the class concept, the Scout was supposed to be a powerful class, as it has access to the most effective ammo and a wide list of weapons. After patch 0.3, it retains its role. Having class 4 armor made it too versatile, which made it more competitive with the Assault class. As part of the current changes, we want to weaken its access to armor, but keep the access to weapons and ammo. So remove the ability to equip class 4. This is the big one. I don't know if that's actually going to change that much, because often with Scout, you either just die instantly or kill them. So I don't know if this is going to matter too much. Added the ability to equip the Augs as well. Now, the ricochet mechanics have been significantly reworked to make head damage more transparent and comprehensible. The ricochet chance has been reduced for all helmets, face shields, masks, and gear mods. Note that despite the reduced chance, the results can still occur. Reduce the metascore for PvP, so PvP is a bit cheaper, and increase the metascore for the Neo Steel helmet. All they did with Assault was change the 25 round mag so that you can't use those anymore in things like the MDR 7.62. And then Marksman balancing changes, they did some inconsequential change to the 7.62 51 ball 11 long range, which is a special ammo that is only available in arena for bolt actions. Before it was 94 damage and 51 pen, now 95 damage and 59 pen. So this is a guaranteed kill through class 6, whereas before it wasn't. No one wears class 6 armor really anyway in arena, so I don't think this makes any difference. And then this one, the ammo stats for tungsten carbide AP, 90 and 60, 98 and 61. Again, this is going to make absolutely no difference, so I really don't know why they've done this. Remove the ability to equip 7.62 by 39 30 rounders on Marksman. Added the ability to equip the PP19 50 round drum. Increased the metascore for APM to 92. Added the ability to equip 5.56 MAIP and 7.62 MAIP. Is this supposed to say SSAP? I think this is supposed to say SSAAP because there isn't MAIAP for 5.56. Alright, so a few changes, several adjustments and fixes the friends widget, readjusted the MVP calculation in checkpoint mode. I'm going to be interested to see what this is, because previously it was basically who has the most captures, regardless of your score, and then after that, if you have the same captures, it's whoever has the most kills. Added an additional indicator when using VoIP in the radio, added milliseconds values when planting a device in Blast Gang, added new splash screens on startup. And then we've got various fixes, which I don't think any of them are particularly important. It's mainly stuff like issues with Twitch drops and level loyalty, incorrect displays, and things like that. Infinite weapon ergonomics after mounting on a weapon or obstacle. So nothing too crazy. So there we have it. The Flea is back in the base game, albeit in a very limited way. There doesn't seem that much else, and really we're going to have to be watching out for what this event is. That's really the main part about this patch, in my opinion. As Nice Guys pointed out in his video yesterday, this is potentially the last major update for EFT before 1.0. So we'll have to see just how this goes, and the next thing that we might be looking at is 1.0 itself. Who knows when it is? We don't really know. We still don't have the actual release date, even though apparently they have it internally. My best guess is in December. I can't see it coming through any earlier than that, but who knows, right? BSG could literally do anything at this point. So go and enjoy the event. As always, a big shout out to all my patrons, and as usual, have fun in your raids.